Commissioners meeting for December the 3rd, 2019. All please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing for invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Reverend from Exchange Church, would you please?
Yes, sir.
I know him as Brian. I can't pronounce his last name.
That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
That's fine.
I was going to call it something else. I just know him as Brian.
That's fine.
Thank you. Please.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this season that we're appointed to remember your birth. The season that we celebrate and remember the good gifts that you bring to us in this life. We thank you for the presence that you have with us, the peace that you give to us, the empathy that you have lived for us, and most of all, the righteousness that you provide for us. God, we thank you for the wisdom that you promise us in Scripture. We thank you for Mayor Eagles, the sacrifices, the commitment that he has made to Rolesville and to our hometown. We thank you for Mayor-elect Mayor Currin as he begins to lead us in this new day. We pray that he makes decisions, that he would have a supernatural discernment from you, that he would lead us in this way with a small town and a bright future. And so God, we love you, we thank you. We thank you for your promises, we thank you for your presence. In your name we pray.
Amen. Thank you. For everybody's information, we're all on TV tonight for the first time. East Wake TV, Amber and my friend over there is sitting here getting us ready. So this will be the first time it'll ever be broadcast. We thank them for what they've done and what they will be doing. So the most important part, swearing in of new elected officials. And to me, well, one of the good ones is the oath of mayor administered to Ronnie Currin by Judge Phil Berger Jr. Ronnie? Thank you, Mayor.
If you'll place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Ronnie Currin,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States,
I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States.
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution
that I will endeavor to support and maintain the Constitution
and laws of said state,
and laws of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office as mayor, so help me God.
the duties of my office as mayor, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you afraid? Come on.
Where's Amanda? Come on, Amanda. Come
One more?
on. Come on, you gotta come. Oh, she's so shy. Didn't know you were sitting over there. Thank you. Thank y'all. Okay. Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank you, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. You remember? Yep.
Okay, the fun does not stop here. So the next oath of commissioner is administered to Michelle Medley, also by Judge Berger. And you guys up?
That was on your end.
Oh, yeah, right? Bob, you should come,
No, you're good. You stand on the other side. Let's sit like.
Come on, Mom.
If you would, place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. I state your name,
I, Michelle Medley,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States,
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
and to the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution.
that was a long one. Please repeat that.
Okay. That I will endeavor
That I will endeavor
to
to
support,
support,
maintain,
maintain,
and defend
and defend
the
the
Constitution
Constitution
and laws of said state,
and laws of said state,
not inconsistent with
not inconsistent with
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as Commissioner, so help me God.
as Commissioner, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're trying to take off somewhere.
I was trying to get to the phone.
Look straight ahead. All right, thank you guys. I can't have with the phone through. Let's hope it wasn't mine. I go that way or that way?
Okay, the third item on the agenda is the Commissioner Administrative of Sheilah Sutton, also by Judge Berger.
All right, I know everyone else is here for me. Come on up. Come on, baby. Come on, son.
I can't, I'm taking photos.
So if you're going to hold the Bible, if you'll stand in the middle.
Yeah, we'll let my son do it. Proud to say my son is serving in the United States Army and just returned from Afghanistan in September, so.
Left hand on the Bible, raise your right. I state your name,
I, Sheilah Sutton,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers
and to the constitutional powers
and authorities which are
and authorities which are
or may be established for the government thereof,
or may be established for the government thereof,
that I will endeavor to support,
that I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend
maintain, and defend
the Constitution and laws of said state,
the Constitution and laws of said state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as Commissioner,
as Commissioner,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's get a picture.
Y'all rock.
All right. Well, thank you. And thank you for you guys participating and everybody coming. We do have a couple of items on the agenda. We tried to go with a light agenda tonight, but there's a couple of things we have to do. One is is appointment and the swearing in of the Mayor Pro Tem. For those that really may not have a complete understanding of what we have to do, is this is a requirement by statute that reads, at the first meeting after their election, the Board of Commissioners shall select one of their number to act as Mayor Pro Tem. The Mayor Pro Tem shall have no fixed term of office, but as such shall perform all duties of the mayor in the mayor's absence or disability. So, so we are required to do that, board, at this meeting, and I think I will open the board up for nominations.
I'll make a motion to nominate Michelle Medley for Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and we got a second. Any discussion? Anybody have any discussion? Okay, let's vote then. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? I count it 4-0. Is that what you got, Madam Clerk? All right, well, congratulations. Now, with that vote, you have to be immediately sworn in. So that's the next thing on the agenda. And tonight we have two special judges with us. As you already met, Judge Phil Berger Jr. Sweared us all the elected officials in tonight. He's Associate Judge of North Carolina Court of Appeals. He was former district attorney in Rockingham County. So I welcome you here. Thank you for coming, such a distinguished judge, to come to swear us in. Thank you very much. And swearing in the Mayor Pro Tem, we have another distinguished judge, Judge Michael R. Morgan. He's Associate Justice on the North Carolina Supreme Court, which is the highest court in our land. And when I say our land, I'm talking about North Carolina. He's you don't get any higher judge than Judge Morgan there, and he's a former district court judge or circuit court judge in North Carolina 3rd District Courts, and I think you served about 12 years in that judgeship. And he's been judged for over 27 years, spanning I think 3 different judgeships. That's a lot of judging going on there. So I understand. I grew up in New Bern, and that's a beautiful city. Beth and I always loved going to New Bern. That's a beautiful city, and I can't imagine growing up there. I understand your father served 3 terms as the mayor of New Bern. Is that correct? All right. So, not only is he a judge, but he grew up in a family that understands small town and also small town leadership. You can't get any better than that. So, I do want to welcome you. And last couple things I say, about Judge Morgan is 2 things that dear to my heart is youth and church. And I understand your leadership in both of those things. So appreciate you coming, Judge Morgan, and coming to Rolesville. Thank you very much. So now we're swearing in Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for your gracious remarks, and good evening to all of you. If you'll come forward, please, Mayor Pro Tem Medley, and if your wonderful family and other supporters will come.
We're going to go this side this time?
Yes.
There's no right or wrong way to do this. They don't teach us this in judicial schools, so I'm going to have the Mayor Pro Tem be right front and center, literally, so the photogenic ones can get her. Left hand on the Bible, right hand raised. If you want to hold it for us, sir, that's fine. And I have you, ma'am, to repeat after me.
Shorter sentences now.
They shall be. This is your town, so whatever you say. I, and state your name,
I, Michelle Medley,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States,
of the United States,
that I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of North
to the
Carolina
state of North Carolina
and to the constitutional powers
and to the constitutional powers
and authorities
and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof,
and that I will endeavor
and that I will endeavor
to support,
to support,
maintain, and defend
and defend
the
the
Constitution and laws
Constitution and laws
of said state,
of said state.
not inconsistent with
Not inconsistent with
the
the
Constitution
Constitution
of the United
of the United
States,
States,
to the best
to the best
of my
of
knowledge
my knowledge
and ability,
and ability,
and that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of my
of
office
my office
as Mayor Pro Tem.
as Mayor Pro Tem.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Madam Mayor Pro Tem, congratulations.
Sign your life away now.
Congratulations, ma'am. This is big. Thank you. Good to see you.
Oh, I can go have a seat. I'm sorry. Oh, a picture? Okay. Right here, over there? Right. Okay, wait for the judge, hold on. Look at Ellen, he's coming up on the seat there, right? Yeah.
He's journaling.
Okay, those are his paparazzi.
Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Oh, wow.
You bring your nameplate for right now.
I'll bring that.
Yeah, you get your nameplate up too.
All right.
Okay, that was fantastic. I've done this quite a few times now. I'm probably the crusty one on the board, but and Frank can testify. You know, these things are not easy to do, and you know, standing up there is tough, and y'all did a great job. Thank you to family people that supporting that. I appreciate that, and I'm excited to have Michelle as Mayor Pro Tem. I know this board is very balanced, and most I think I added up is 16 years of total experience. All four of the commissioners that has been elected, and it's pretty balanced. And I would working with all four of them. I would be very pleased if any of the four was chosen by the board, But as I stated before, the board has to make a decision on one to do that. It's an honor to be elected by citizens. All of us up here are elected by citizens, and that's an honor. But I think it's also an honor to be elected by your peer, and that's what Michelle just been elected by her peer group of commissioners as Mayor Pro Tem. And I think that's an honor too. So I'm looking forward to working with Sheilah. I really want to commend the board for making a unanimous decision. It just shows that you guys are willing to work together. You know, we put all the petty stuff aside, and let's do what's best for the town in the next 2 years. And work together on that. And I think this was a very hard, I think, decision. Being that no one really stood out in experience and time on the board, and y'all did a fantastic job. So I want to commend all four of you for that. So thank you very much. We do have a couple other items on the agenda. One is the approval of the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine and may be enacted in one motion. If a town commissioner requests discussion on any item, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. What is the wishes of the board?
So moved.
Okay, I got a motion.
I second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No opposing, so I got 4-1, Madam Clerk. Public comments. This is a very good part of our meeting agenda here is public comments. We take comments from the public and we receive them at this time. The items that are not on the agenda schedule, for example, public hearings and stuff, is your opportunity to talk about. outside of those agenda items. A sign-up sheet for those who wish to speak during the public comment section of the meeting is located in the front of the room. Looking at it, I don't think anybody signed up. Doesn't look like it. Speaking will be a limit to 3 minutes. I'm going to open it up to anybody. I don't see anybody signed up, but anybody would like to speak at this time, feel moved to speak? Steve? We're honored to have another active elected official from Rolesville. I've been knowing Steve for a long time. I think Michelle knows Steve really well, and Sheilah and a lot of the board members. I don't know all of Steve's resume, but been working with him a long time on a couple of other opportunities we had regionally. And I do know he's been Mayor Pro Tem for a couple terms. So we're honored to have you, Steve. Thank you for coming to Rolesville.
It's great to be in Rolesville, and I just want to thank the citizens for this wonderful event. Mayor Currin, it's great to say that now. I want to thank Mayor Eagles for being a friend of mine all these years, and you've done great for Rolesville, and you'll continue to do great things. And it's great to be here with Mayor Pro Tem Michelle Medley, who invited me, and Sheilah Sutton, great friend of mine, commissioner. I wish we were commissioners. We're only council members, so I've got something to take back to town hall. Commissioner sounds a little bit better. But I just think, Wake County is one of the largest growing counties in the state, and I think Rolesville is well on its way to becoming just a great town. Just with the businesses here, the technology, the innovation. I've got a lot of ideas. I met your chamber president today, and I think Morrisville today is 30,000, but I think you guys are going to catch up soon. You're one of the fastest growing towns, and so I look forward to coming back. And on that note, I just want to wish you all a very happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and hopefully I'll be back to see my good friend Mayor Currin, and hopefully we'll see you at the next Triangle J meeting or whoever your delegate is. And for everyone in Rolesville, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and if you need anything in Morrisville, let me know.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Any other comments at this time? Feel free. Come up and state your name. Anybody else? One thing I learned over the years from Mayor Eagles, the mayor has a few liberties, and one of them is, I'm a citizen too, and I can speak at this event. And I do want to say we've done this some, but I don't think we can do it enough. And that's giving our thanks and gratitude. And Steve did a good job of it too. To Frank, we had a great. I would say it was a retirement party. It was, Frank. Great turnout, a bunch of his friends, and we had a really good time. A lot of people spoke. Some things I heard I kind of liked. Some things I heard concerned me. One was from the manager when he said that we got to increase staff because of all the work Frank did in town, all the ad hoc jobs he had. So we got to address that because Frank did wear a lot of hats, and kind of want to thank him for that. And I think for the last tribute, Frank, I kind of want to reread. Kind of the comments I made at that meeting, if you don't mind, and in closing at that meeting, I said Frank served the citizens well. He did a lot of things in the past 12 years. We're planning to do a lot more in the future with things that Frank has set in motion. The opening of the new bypass that we talked about that night will allow many existing and new things to happen on Main Street. Also, during Frank's tenure, and even before he's mayor, he was a big advocate of Rolesville having a Wake County public library. The wheels of Wake County government can roll slow at times, but my understanding is that they are now looking to purchase land, and that's really the first step. That should be a positive sign that we'll have a library coming. I made another comment that Frank knows about that I'll live up to that comment if we can make it happen, Frank, and I'll stay true to that. Hope we can. I hope we get the library, and And just to close, just want to again thank you for serving your community so faithful. I hope you know and will enjoy your retirement. Even though I understand it's going to be brief with some of the things that you plan to do in 2020. I was here. Going a little bit off script here, but I was here, Frank. When you were been on the board 2 years previous to me, I think is kind of what I'm saying, and when I came on, and if I recall, I made the motion for you as Mayor Pro Tem, and that really set the wheels in motion, and you took the reins and done a great job at that. So I think you got a lot of things planned in the future, but I say this in honest and sincerely, you have left Rolesville better than you found it, and I and all in Rolesville is grateful for that. So thank you, Frank. One last time. Okay, Frank, Sheilah has asked me to make sure, everybody knows what we're talking about here. I know you know what we're talking about. Is, we're committed if we do get a library, Wake County Library, we're going to do all we can to I guess what I would say, encourage Wake County to name it the Columbus Frank Eagles Junior Library. So,
That's awesome.
So thank you, Frank. Okay, no other public comments? We do have a few new business on the agenda, and I hope we'll be brief on that. We got a couple, important things to do. One, as you can tell, is naming the liaison appointments. I'm gonna name those, and then it kind of in my mayor's report, if you're around, I may touch on each of them a little bit. But the appointees for Parks and Recreation First Advisory Board liaison will be Paul Berger. Economic Development is Sheilah Sutton. Planning Board liaison Michelle Medley, and Public Safety would be Jackie Wilson. At the moment, Steve, I'm going to continue being delegate of Triangle J, and I do need to find an alternate for that, and we'll work on kind of, who can be my alternate. With no big deal tonight. And in the Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, Campo. So like I said, we'll expand on those a little bit more when I do the mayor's report. Adoption of the 2020 Town Board and Planning Board meeting schedules. You want to introduce that?
So in your packet is the schedule. It follows the schedule that's outlined in your charter for meetings. And so it's appropriate for you to adopt that tonight. I did want to bring up a point. I don't think you want to change it today, but sitting on my desk was this flyer today, and I looked over and looked at it. And on May 5th, which is one of your scheduled meetings, is the start of the Municipal League Conference this year. So if you choose to do that, I would recommend as we get closer to May, we might want to move that meeting to Monday, May 4th. But
is that the league?
That is the league conference this year.
Wellington, I think.
So
yeah.
Well, let's just go with the schedule as is today, and then as we'll track closer to May, we'll kind of see where we are. But we'll might want to move that meeting to Monday, May 4th.
So they starting on a Tuesday?
It says May 5th through 7th on my little flyer.
I guess they'll start on. Yeah. Okay.
So, but otherwise, I think your schedule is good to go.
All right. Well, I know we may have a conflict. We'll address that later. But do I hear a motion from the board on it?
Motion to adopt 2020 meeting schedule.
All right. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
No one opposed, I don't think, so I got 4-0, Madam Clerk. Is that what you got? Probably the only thing on the agenda that was of other than kind of formality is this strategic plan kickoff presentation. And I think swearing in and the oath of offices and all that stuff is very important. But I think from a citizen standpoint, the strategic plan is something that we've kind of been working on for a while, and I think it's really going to be important to the town. And I may speak on that a little bit more in my mayor's report too. Sheilah and myself was assigned by the board to kind of be the point people to working with Kelly, the town manager, and also I think Amy had a lot of involvement in it, in trying to come up with a plan and a vendor to use, and I think we've done that. Anything you want to add, Sheilah?
No, I'm just looking forward to it. I think it's
Yeah.
much needed.
Yeah, I am too, and we'll let you guys know. I may, like I said, I'll mention a little bit more later, but let's see it. So
Sure.
we're ready to go.
So tonight, Mr. Mayor, as you indicated, you selected this UNC Center for Public Leadership to help facilitate this process. So tonight is Rick Ricchetti, who's here to outline kind of the reasoning and purpose of the strategic plan, the process, and then probably more importantly, us kind of coming together and what dates we want to pick. So Rick, if you'd like to come forward and give a quick introduction to yourself and what we're doing with strategic planning.
Thanks, Kelly. I appreciate it. My name's Rick Ricchetti. I've been in Raleigh since 1983 and worked for the city of Raleigh during that time and doing some different things and helping with Raleigh strategy and doing a lot of training and other types of activities, helping the city kind of move its strategy forward and trying to achieve its vision. A couple of years ago, I got connected with the School of Government in a formal way, and I'm adjunct instructor, adjunct faculty there with the School of Government Center for Public Leadership and Governance. And it was through that I'm able to, to be here tonight. I've had a lot of experience doing strategic planning, and what I'm here to do tonight is, first of all, be brief. I like the 3-minute rule that you have, Mayor Currin, so I'll try to maybe be a little more expansive than that, but not much more. I'd also like to thank you all for having me, and I'd like to congratulate each and every one of you for being elected and re-elected and promoted. So very briefly, what is a strategic plan? Well, at its basic form, it's a living document that you all have had a lot of thought or will have a lot of thought put into. And it forms really the basis of how you're moving forward into the future. And it represents that in an intentional way. And so why would you do a strategic plan? Well, I think for a lot of people, I like to frame it up this way. And you may find this humorous. I like to use myself as an example. A long time ago when I was starting work, I was working for $1.60 an hour. It was a long time ago. And I couldn't be strategic. I could barely make it from paycheck to paycheck because it was just tactical. I had only enough to kind of get ready for, as strategic as I could be, was getting ready for Friday night or Saturday night's, parties. And so, but when you make more money, or when you come to a new stage of growth, in this case, when you get to a certain level of organization, it becomes time to formalize some things. And I think that's where you are, and that's why you've reached out. I also think that why do you do a strategic plan is to form your thinking. And you do it as a group because you want to understand where people are coming from and how they see the challenges that the town faces. And that's really pretty much it, I think, so that you can come together, identify the challenges, identify the priorities that you're going to work on for the next 2 or 3 years so that you can begin to move forward. And the way we typically do that at the school is through a process that I'm going to outline with you right now. So we're going to spend tonight, I'm introducing you to the process and so forth. One of our graduate students, Ashley Owensby, is going to be doing some interviews with you between the 9th and the 11th. Then we're going to come together on some date that we're going to figure out tonight, where we're going to spend a day and we're going to do the mission, vision, values, and we're going to talk a little bit about some analysis of strengths and weaknesses and where you want to go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at kind of establishing some high-level goals. Then what we'll do is we'll engage your staff and community in giving some input on that. Then we'll come back and put the finishing touches on the plan. Now that's, and you have a document, I think, in front of you. Say yes. That has, or you will have a document in front of you that gives you some background on some strategic planning, which I'll let you read at your leisure. But on the second page is the kind of the dates that we've initially put forward. So before we get to the dates, I want to see, I was extremely brief about strategic planning, but I want to know if you have any questions that I might answer.
If I might, Rick, just to expand on a couple parts. One is that Rick touched on the document and the living document. It really becomes one of your top tier documents you'll be using for your decision making and direction in the future. Why we're starting it now is that we would like to have this accomplished prior to the budget, because when you will develop this plan and these objectives, what will be key is that we make the budget match that. So we're trying to reach this and accomplish this prior to when we get into the budget significantly. And as you go along over the next year or two, this document will be referred to on a continuous basis. We will continue to update it on a continuous basis. And it is our hope, from staff's perspective, that future boards will continue this process and that you will then see a vision that will become reality over time. And so really what you're going to be creating here the next 30 days to 60 days to 90 days is something that I think we're setting forth and looking forward to the next 10 to 20 years. And so the work that you'll be doing is very important, and that's why Rick is here to help facilitate that, and we're looking forward to this. So back to the dates, and if there's any questions, we can do that too, but back to dates. We'd originally proposed December 20th as a kickoff date, and I know there's a conflict at one level of that. What we probably need is at least 5 hours or 6 hours one day. We could go afternoon to evening if it works better for folks sometimes, or a full day starting in the morning. But if December 20th does not work for our time together, we could probably go. I don't anticipate trying to get this accomplished prior to the holidays. And I had my calendar up, but I was looking at the time after the New Year, which would be that kind of that, I don't know what everybody's doing January 3rd or not, but do you want to just kind of do this?
Yeah, I think it's important for this to have all the commissioners here, and I know there's one conflict. The suggestion, why is it a reason you got to gather your information and the 20th is the earliest you'll be able to do it?
Well, we could meet on the 14th.
Yeah.
Which is before, it's obviously before the holidays, but we could meet on the 14th. Which
and
is
the 14th
Saturday.
is what?
It's a Saturday.
And quite frankly,
Yeah.
with the schedule, that
Yeah.
may be the way we need to go. I know we've got a UDO meeting on the 10th, but that's a morning meeting. And I know on the 20th, I'm going to be out of town.
Yeah.
But
Would you like to dedicate Saturday the 14th for a few hours?
it may be better for us. Yeah, I mean, it's easier for me to speak because I'm self-employed and I can arrange mine, but Saturday would work for me, but I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, Saturday worked for me as well.
I'm good on Saturdays.
I think that's agreement.
Good. All right. Good.
So,
Do you have a preference to start in the morning? Would that be just get it going early and get on with it?
What time in the
You
morning?
bringing coffee and donuts?
Sheila brings early.
Coffee and early, I know.
Like to meet at like
6:30.
7:30,
6:30 a.m.
Are you kidding me?
9 o'clock, like a 9
9?
o'clock start.
9?
Yeah.
9 works for me.
9 a.m. Good.
All right.
That's perfect. We like that.
December the 14th,
Yeah.
9 a.m.
That'd be great. Then we'll just hold to that and we'll talk about the rest of the schedule that day that's prepared here.
Great. My other comment I think I would make, it looks like on the schedule we're looking at the 14th as community evening, and I'm not sure what night that is, but I just want to make sure that we get really good community input.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to make sure that's a good night for
Right.
folks too, and there's not a lot of conflicts with all the rest of the stuff going on.
That's right.
I do hope, and I think it will. I think we'll have good anticipation from the public on this once they start hearing what it's about and what we're trying to do here. Not only the strategic plan, but I think the vision is important, and that's kind of what we're trying to create. So let's make sure. Like I said, my preference is to have everybody involved from the board, and I would like to have as many people that want to be involved from the citizens be involved too.
Good. Sounds good. Anything else, Rick, that you need?
I was just going to add on that, though, with an evening meeting. I know a lot of people do work, so evening works out. Morning session may be good, too. I noticed a lot of the schools have gone to, thank goodness, I used to tell them about this when my kids were in school, where they do a morning meeting for people who are available in the morning, and they do an evening meeting for people who may not be available. That may be another way to capture a larger audience as well.
There's your coffee.
Hey, we can have coffee.
I think that's a very good point. So if you guys can talk about, I don't want to shortcut the public at all in this. I think it's very important for everybody to have opportunity that want to participate, be able to do that. So I think 2 sessions is not a bad idea. One for the morning
I
people
agree.
and one for the evening people, maybe. So
I agree.
We can be flexible on that. I literally live about 7 or 8 miles down the road on 401, so I get up at 4 every morning.
Oh my
So
goodness.
not a lot of input at that time, but I can be here early and I can be here in the evening. So that's not a problem. I can be flexible.
Great. Thanks, Rick.
Be happy to.
Let's move on.
Good. Then I think with that date, I think we're ready, set, go.
okay,
So good. Thank you.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Okay, moving right along. Item.
Is that 9 to what on Saturday the 14th?
What time does it end? What time you planning on ending? Do you know? 9 to.
What do you think? We're going to need 6 hours probably, thereabouts?
4, we'll work hard and get out early.
Okay.
Okay.
9 to 4.
All right, thank you.
Okay, item 14 on the agenda, discussion on procedure for filling the open commissioner seat, which is down to my left here. As you can see, there's an empty seat. I think this is a very important thing for us to really consider. Well, not us. I'm going to exclude myself because I've just given up my vote a few minutes ago, right, Frank? And I think it's an important decision for you four that's on the board to make where we go with that. The only thing I would like to make sure I facilitate is, everybody has a chance to digest and discuss it with each other and whatever, need to do that, not feel like it's rushed. Attorney Clyde Holt is here tonight filling in for David, which had another commitment. He's had experience with this. He's come prepared to discuss some options, if you want to call it options, that we can go with. I asked him, if it's any things that he's seen that are tripping hazards that we need to be aware of. He can warn us on that. So, I kind of open it up to the board to ask him questions, after he kind of give us his comments from an experience standpoint. So I open up for you guys to ask him questions. Tonight, I want to kind of keep it as informational. And at the end, maybe we'll decide next steps, if whatever the four of you decide you want to do. So, Clyde?
Mr. Mayor, it's an honor to be here. Thank you. I'm not sure how to handle your microphone, but I usually talk loud enough to...
You're good.
I'm good. Mr. Mayor, it's an honor to be here. As Judge Payne commented when he was swearing in the Mayor Pro Tem, he said that there was really no established procedure for choosing a Mayor Pro Tem, no right way to do it, no wrong way to do it. It's up for each council, each board to adopt a policy as to how they want to proceed under the circumstances. We face the exact same situation in filling a vacant seat. The General Assembly has not established a procedure for municipalities to follow, so it is for you to give it consideration and decide how you want to proceed and which way is appropriate. Some municipalities will look at recent election results and will give a priority to the highest vote getter that did not win an office and give that person a priority or an invitation. Would you still like to serve? Other municipalities will look at former council members, people who have served in an elected capacity previously, since they obviously are familiar with the processes, familiar with the issues that the municipality faces. They have a great deal of experience, and they would invite them. Do they want to come back on the board or to continue to serve on the board to fill out an unexpired term? That's quite commonly done and is considered totally appropriate. Other municipalities will give a precedence to a suggestion from the retiring member. For example, one person would be stepping down and they would, that individual may have a suggestion or a nomination as to who should be their successor. But perhaps the most common procedure is to invite candidates from the general public to step forward, either to nominate someone else and suggest to the board that this person be considered, or to ask people to step forward that who would be willing to serve. It is an open process. The discussion has to be open, but there is no single way to proceed. I've seen it done in each of those, and the reason that there's no specific guidelines or direction from the General Assembly is because the vacancies occur for so many different reasons. Perhaps the most common vacancy is for someone moving to another community, so they're no longer ineligible to continue serving, and so they will retire. Other vacancies are created similar to our situation here, where one of the council members has been elected to another office. Many vacancies occur for many different reasons. Thus, each council is to consider the particular circumstance, the particular time, and decide how you want to proceed. There is no time requirement in the statute. As you, Mr. Mayor, were citing the statute regarding the Mayor Pro Tem, it was something to be taken up and a decision made as soon as practical because of the obvious necessity to have someone to stand in the event the mayor should be disabled or no longer to serve. There is not a deadline. There is no specific time limit there too, because each of these procedures may take, and obviously would take, a different period of time. It is, I can cite as many examples as you would like to hear about, but any and all of these would be deemed appropriate.
Mr. Holt, if I may, Mr. Mayor, if I may ask
you a
a
question.
In the event that out of our discussions, and I know we will talk among ourselves about these options. I don't see us moving forward tonight. I see us exploring the options unless I get out voting. All right, and let's say that we, in this journey, we find a couple of people that we like. Is it proper for us to interview these people?
Absolutely. And that can be done. You as individual council members can make suggestions to others. You may talk individually with other potential candidates to see their interest.
Okay.
To ask their interest. Would you be willing to serve if I were to suggest you to the other council members? The discussion that has to be open and at a called meeting would be if there is at any time you as a group are discussing a particular candidate or the process and there is essentially a quorum present, it has to be at a called public meeting. But it's entirely appropriate for any of you to talk together as long as it is not a quorum. Three of you could not talk simultaneously unless it was at an open meeting. But there is nothing to prevent two of you from discussing it. There is nothing to prevent an individual to discuss it with members of the public just to see their interest and or to suggest, why don't you serve? I think you would be good. Why don't you come submit a letter to the rest or come at our next meeting in the citizens comment section. Suggest to us, suggest someone else, suggest another candidate, volunteer yourself to serve. I have seen councils once they had several candidates in consideration to hold a meeting where each one of them can state and talk to the council, talk to the public as to why they would be a good candidate. I mean, I have seen that occur. But certainly each of you should be thinking who would be an appropriate candidate, who would be a good public servant, who can we work with collectively and collaboratively. The mayor, I think, correctly pointed out that it was a good sign for the future that you were able to agree unanimously on a mayor pro tem. So it would be good as well if you are able to come to a consensus on who would be the appropriate person to fill that seat.
Thank you.
Questions? Any other questions?
Is the public allowed to ask questions for clarification if they have any? I don't know.
I don't have a problem. If a public want to come up and state their name and address.
That's for the mayor to decide.
Gotcha.
State their name and address about it, I'm okay with it. As long as we keep it brief, you know. What about the board? Any questions?
Even by application as well, right? Because someone was telling me tonight that their city did it by application after, you know, they put it out there that we are going to have, we have this open seat, and they did it by application to at least generate that interest on paper.
You can make the statement at the meeting. You could publish it on your website. You could go to the formality of putting a brief notice in the Wake Weekly. That's, all of those are appropriate ways to proceed.
So it would be in our best interest maybe to set like qualifying, like to have someone qualified or not necessarily qualified.
The only qualification is that they be a registered voter inside the municipality. If they're registered, if if they are a registered voter, qualified voter in the municipality, they are qualified
Okay.
for consideration.
Okay, because I'm not referring to experience, because I didn't have any either. So I just want to make sure I'm clear on that. Okay. Not on the municipal level.
Yeah, I think if I understood what you said originally, that's the only qualification, but the board, the commissioners can have, I guess, like you said, the one that was the most successful in the previous election, all kinds of considerations
Right.
that they want to consider
Correct.
in that. Anybody else?
Any questions?
Anybody want to speak? All right. I think from my seat, just logistically, at the point that we decide to consider it, make a consideration, I would just call for a nomination from the board and a second, and we would vote on it.
When you get actually to be selecting the person,
Mm-hmm.
if it is, certainly that is the appropriate way to proceed. If there is more than one nomination, it could be a ballot.
Mm-hmm.
But since you have such a small board, it is likely there too that a formal election is not the likely process. The most common way is for one of the board members at the appropriate time, once again set on the agenda and/or by the mayor, to make a motion that this individual will be selected to serve the balance of the term. Nominations actually, and it is seconded, then if that is the only nomination, you would say, are there others to be considered? If there are no others to be considered, you would just ask for the vote.
Gotcha. So it takes a nomination with no other consideration to call for a motion.
Correct.
To approve. Gotcha. Okay. Any other questions? I guess the final business we need to decide, you four need to decide, is next step. Do we want to put it on the agenda for more discussion next meeting, for consideration, or how do you want us to proceed with that?
I think we need more discussion. Like, which way are we going to go? What is going to be the standard for this? Because would this be something that we would use moving forward if it happened again? Or would it just be changed over and you start over again?
Like,
can you
this
adopt
is a policy decision that you will need to make every time there is a vacancy.
Okay.
In other words, even if you adopted a policy, you could change the policy the next time it happens.
it's ever
So
changing.
essentially, it's a decision you would make either time. If I could make a suggestion how you would proceed, is that have it be an agenda item, just a process to be followed, and an agenda item at your next meeting. And at that time, decide, are we going to have interviews? Are we going to ask for the public to step in? So have it be an agenda item at your next meeting, not to make a choice, but to decide the process that you're going to follow.
What's the thoughts of the board on that?
I like that. I agree with that.
I like that, but I also like the option of, since we do have this time, although we're not going to get a true break in December, it seems, I do like the option of the discussion at the meeting, but leaving the option open if we're ready to make a decision that we
Right.
can go forward. and
Certainly
do
you
that.
can.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we'll get with David and get the wording right on that.
Yeah.
I think you used the word consideration on the agenda item, so I think that is actionable, right? I think so. We'll do that. Tonight was just mostly discussion, so if that's what you guys prefer. What about y'all? Y'all okay
Yeah,
with that, or
that's
you
fine.
want to? All right. Well, it sounds like we got it. So, any closing? Everybody good with this item?
That'll be for the January 7th meeting.
I'm guessing that's what you guys was talking about, right? Next meeting?
The next
will be January 7th? Okay. First meeting in January? Okay.
So again, so that meeting will, that discussion will be to not make a decision, but if we are ready to make a nomination, is that what you're saying? Is that what you say, Sheilah?
If it comes to that, yeah.
If it comes to that,
Right.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Can be a discussion or a motion. Or,
And/or.
Okay, just making sure.
That sounds great. Appreciate board work with that. Thank you, Clyde, for your work on that. So
My pleasure.
So appreciate that. Last on the agenda is a couple of administrative items. Mayor's report. I do have a couple comments that I want to make, and I'll try to be brief, but I'm not sure. If I can, but I'll try here. I'm really excited that we're moving forward with this strategic plan that was discussed a few minutes ago. I know as a board we always talk about this somewhat when we have retreats and we consider the budgets and stuff. This is one of the things we talk about, but we don't really have a formalized one. This will help us in our budget process, but I'm hoping also to get a lot more out of it than just a budget process thing. I'm really looking for public input in this in what I call and said a couple times a vision, which we really don't have, but a town vision. It won't be my vision. It won't be the board's vision. But I wanted to be the town's vision, with citizens allowed to be part of that development, and that's kind of where I want to go with that. It's important to me that we get our citizens' input on this. I appreciate I don't know who brought it up, maybe it's you, Sheilah, but I appreciate to make sure everybody has a chance to have input with that. So, what I would like to see done is not in stone. I think the board can do a lot of tweaking as we move forward on this on how we want to do that. But I kind of see, a three-step process as we go through this. First is this vision. We need to get this a vision that the town wants moving forward. And I think we already have in our plans to do a thoroughfare transportation plan type study, and that's early next year, I think. Mm-hmm. I kind of see this, and I want us to put a lot of effort in that. I want this board to put a lot of effort in that. I want the consultants and the staff, planning staff, everybody to put efforts in it. So I really think it's important for us to get this transportation plan correct. I almost see the transportation plan somewhat like, sort of like water sewer lines. If you reach capacity in water sewer lines, you don't build anymore. I mean, you've run out. And I think roads is somewhat important to citizens in the same respect. At some point, if we don't plan well, we run out. And we don't want to run out. We want to plan well where we can do what we need to do. So, so I see this as baking a cake, a three-layer cake. We had the vision, strategic plan, we have transportation plan laid on top of that. And then the last thing we need to do is, and I think we all talked about this, is looking at the comprehensive land use plan again and make sure that comprehensive land use plan kind of match these other two things that we talk about, so the cake will be whole and we'll have a good thing. I don't think, and I want to make this statement, I don't think our comprehensive land plan is bad, but I don't think it really defines real well the usages and what it should be. So it's not broken. I don't think it's totally broken, but I think we can do better. And that's what I'm hoping, that we can do better. And I'm hoping we can get some citizen input on that and doing better. So I think that would kind of help some of the challenges we had recently with some of the things that we had going on. And I really appreciate the board supporting this strategic plan and vision that we can move forward. As appointees, Parks and Rec Advisory Board, Paul's taking that. Paul works really well with the Parks and Rec folks. I think he served on the committee to appoint some of those, so he has a lot of contact with them. Works really well with them. I think he's done some coaching and stuff. So you have some experience with that, and you know some of them real well. And I think you're going to be a good asset to that board. As part of the appointment, I won't Paul take the lead in the park. I think he was already doing that somewhat, but we had a stretch point that we really need we got a plan. We just need to lay it out with a schedule and a financing plan to go with it. How we're going to do that. I think if we need to. I know we talked a little bit with Kelly. We need to have a special task force committee to help with finding funding, especially these party fundings and this type of stuff. I think we can certainly do that, but that's kind of up to you guys looking at what we need to do with that. But I think it's really important for us to keep the rec board involved in this park thing, and I really want their involvement. And I think one other improvement that I think can happen with the rec board, and I want to make sure, Paul, you are working on, and as we move forward, it has to do with park greenways, decisions on those things tied into new subdivisions, approval process. I think they are somewhat a little bit now, but not as they need to be. I think they're a little bit late in the process of approval. I would like to see this them have a little bit more bite into it. I think they can add a lot of value to our recommendations if we kind of get them to do that. I think a prime example is this recently approved one where, as a board in consideration, we provided, parking spaces for, getting on the greenway and stuff. So I really think I'm going to ask you, Paul, to make sure that they are more involved in it. I don't want to hold the process up. I just want to improve the process and make sure we kind of figure that out a little bit ahead of time. Economic development, Sheilah is stepped up to do that. Michelle did a great role in the past 4 years. Have done a really good job. We didn't have anything at all when we started 4 years ago, so did a really good job of that. A lot of progress had been made, especially I think in the last 2 years, probably the first couple of years, we're kind of spinning our wheels on getting some things done. We now have Michael on board. And he is now getting his feet really wet into this thing and really understanding what's going on. So I see this has kind of changed a little bit, where this is economic development more of his baby. I kind of want you to take more the lead on that and make it work. Again, I want to say Michelle, very good job. I think as a liaison, without, others, working on it, you did more than that. In other words, you did more than that in that time. I think now we have the framework in place that we can see some really taking off on economic development. And I think that's where I kind of hoping Sheilah will step in and will be, taking a look at, how is it organized, and are we really efficient in that? I think working with Michael, and also I think we're going to involve Rachel, from the chamber in it to come with this, because I think it's a core there, and I believe Sheilah, working with that now, in this, I think she's thought about it the last few weeks and really, really will kind of come up with a plan on how to go forward with that. I think this is really exciting for Rolesville, especially for Main Street vision projects that we had going on, and all this is really, is really going to be I think some citizens are going to see some good things coming up in the future. Planning Board liaison, Michelle is going to do that. I am excited for that. I know this is a new role, but also it's an old role. I mean, we had this role many years ago. If we kind of look back before we had, before we even had a planning, before we even had a planner, or before we even had a planning director, our planning board kind of did it all, and our liaison working with the planning board was kind of involved in that. And I think I'm looking forward. I see Frank nodding his head over there. I'm kind of looking forward to kind of bringing that back a little bit. And Michelle, I'm gonna look at you kind of helping with that, to see that we can kind of true that up a little bit. I kind of see the planning department, our employees do a really good job of what we hire them to do. And that is developing policies and developing procedures that promote the prosperity of our town and what we ask them to do. I think they do a really good job of that. And I think the planning board does a really good job of what we assign them to do. And that is reviewing the plans and making sure they match what, the policies that we set in place and all that stuff. I think they do a really good job of that. But I think what I'm saying here is that, as a board, we have a responsibility to provide those two planning entities, something that is good for us as a town and also as a citizens. And I think that's the task that we're missing, Michelle. I think that's kind of the task we're missing. And I think, in talking to you and viewing you, I think you have a really good understanding of the concerns of the citizens and neighbors, and we'll be able to work with them in shaping, the vision we're looking at in planning. I know you're really good and networking with some of the communities that we've had some issues with. So I think I'm really excited for you to kind of take this and work with the planning department to just kind of work through this new role. And I would say that lastly, I feel like in our working together the last few years that you have a passion somewhat for affordable housing, and trying to get an understanding of what that means and what that means for Rolesville. So, that will be part of that too, is working with, how do we do that? How do we do that? And I think this is a much needed thing, and I'm really kind of looking forward to that. Lastly, public safety, Jackie is doing, he's kind of continuing that role. But also, is looking for Jackie to help with a couple of really important issues that I see in the future, Jackie, and I think we've kind of talked about this. One is the fire department and how we future are tied to them. How do we support them? They're a volunteer fire department now. That has worked really well for us in the past, but I think there's challenges in the future for that. I know Wake Forest just did a study and actually made a recommendation. I think we participated a little bit in that. I think we just took it from what we could learn from it, but we really didn't come up with any conclusions on how to do that. But I think the game is on how do we, as we grow, and how do we relate to the fire department, and how do we support them? And they got real issues with not, a private entity and trying to hire employees and keep them, and that's really a problem that we need to really help them with. Second issue that we need addressing is facilities, especially the police department. I see Captain and Chief back there. we briefly talked of, at an ad hoc get together, not long ago with the chief and the captain about some of the issues that they see in their facilities. I think the board approved 2 years ago that we would make facilities our number one priority, and that was due to our growth, officer safety, security, protection of evidence, and a number of other things that. And I think one of the first steps is we need to make sure this board still feel that that's the priority. So Jackie, I think that's one of the things that you need to kind of make sure this board still believe that's a priority. I know we had a committee with Bill Daltrey heading it up one time that studied that did a very good job of laying that stuff out. And I don't think Kelly, you've seen much of that.
Yeah, I have.
Maybe good to talk to Bill and let's kind of start that back up. But I don't know. I know worked really good with Amy in the last couple of years in providing us some strategic financing for some future type facilities if we choose it to be the police. So I think that's where we're at. I'm really excited. I think this board is going to work really hard and really good together in trying to get some of these things done for our citizens, and I really appreciate that. So the next 2 years should be exciting. I think the citizens did a great job of electing the board as we have it, and I think we're going to go forth. And I got all confidence that we're going to pull together, make some of these. Might not make everything, but make some of these things come together. So that's my mayor's report. Next item on the agenda is the commissioner report. If you guys want to add anything to what I said, you can do that. If you got something you want to report out on that, or any other commissioner reports. So, any commissioner report?
I don't have a report. I just want to the citizens that are here, just thank you for your support, period, not just of me, but just for the voting process and coming out, and for us having a cordial campaign. So thank you all. I think we have a great community, and I'm just glad to be a part. I've been here 15 years. I have no desire to move. I would like to move down to a townhouse. But thank you all for being engaged in the process. It matters, and continue to be engaged. So just know we appreciate you.
Any other report?
Yeah, I have one quick thing. I'd like to bring attention to everyone about the military banner program that we have. The deadline for it is December 15th, so it's coming up pretty soon. These are banners that are going to be down Granite Falls Boulevard. It's our first time doing this. It's an initial thing, and I'd really like to see the entire boulevard filled with these banners. So we can actually hopefully send out more information about that in a news blast again, just to try to get everybody more information about that. But I'd just like to see a lot of people participate in that, if you could.
Have you sold any yet?
Do you know how many we have?
You know how many are committed to? Okay. How many polls do we have?
Number of polls?
We're at 36 total polls.
36.
Okay.
So we have 11 right now. We have 36 total polls. I'd like to get them filled if we could. Appreciate it.
In about a third saturation. Thank you, Paul.
Yep.
Oh, what's the time frame on those that they'll be up?
It was from Memorial Day to Veterans Day, and they'll stay up for 2 years. And then after the 2 years, you'll get the banner.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, any other?
Update on the fire department. I'll let the citizens know. At one time, our one fire department was serving more space than Wake Forest, or more square footage in Wake Forest, and they were operating out of 4 or 5 fire departments at that time. So we do see the need for more fire departments, so our response times will be less. And the volunteer fire department has been very proactive. We've acquired land in 3 places that we anticipate putting fire departments so we can keep our response times down. Now that the trucks have the same AVLs, or automatic vehicle locators, that your ambulances have. They're called out quite often to respond, and sometimes you don't make it back to the fire station before you get hit with another ding because you're close to another emergency. So that issue also has to be addressed, and we are addressing it. And as Ronnie had said earlier, there may come a time where we will not be able to work as a volunteer fire department. We may have to go municipal. But I feel like with the people in place that are making the plans with the support of the county, that we're taking the right steps, and we'd look to our town manager, who's been through this in other towns, for guidance and support. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Sheilah?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you again to everybody who's here tonight, everybody who's watching on YouTube somewhere. You've been very supportive of this board, of myself, and I truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you, so I do say thank you. Have a happy holiday that's coming up and all that other good stuff.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm going to break agenda a little bit and ask for any committee report, or not committee, but staff reports first. Anything y'all need to report on?
Look at them, they're like, no.
Amen.
I don't have it on my agenda for attorney report, and I guess David didn't have anything he wanted you to report.
I have no instructions, Mr. Mayor, so
Okay.
I think he'll talk to you next time.
Good. Town manager report.
I have nothing either. I'm just wanted to be. I'm very grateful, and I think I'll speak on behalf of the staff that we feel like we've had a very successful 2019. We're very grateful for your interest in continuing forward, and we're looking forward to 2020. It's going to be very busy, but that's what this is all about. Is Rolesville is growing, and we want to be a part of that. So we're looking forward to that. So good luck in everything you do, and we're here to support you.
Thank you. I'll echo on behalf of my perspective. Y'all do a great job, and appreciate everything that the staff do. I think trash is getting picked up every day, and roads. So we still got one street I want to make sure we get paved, but been talking about it for a while. But as I said, Wake County sometimes rolls with the wheels turn a little slow, but I think it's in a pretty bad condition. It's going to take a lot more than just paving, but there's one street I really like to see some work done on. But y'all do a great job, and appreciate all you do. And I'll ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second. I think Paul got it in there first. So I got a motion, a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
No opposed? So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming, citizens. Thank you.